So, we segue on to the distinguished Canadian actor, Eric Peterson. How are you, sweetheart?
Thank you. Charlie, you made me feel young again. Which is hard because I have been possessed by a demon. I am in the possession of a demon. An old fart demon. Crankius fartius, I think is the Latin name for him. Physical changes that have occurred to me since I was inhabited by this demon. My skin has got wrinkly and saggy and blotchy. My hair is doing funny things. It's falling off my head. Starting to grow on my shoulders. My belly, my nipples, comes out of my ears on top of my... I've got two waists now, one below my pot belly and one above it. My bum has fallen off, but that's compensated for by my man breasts. Psychologically, I find myself railing and ranting about the new technology. What is this? Cell phones and blogging and tweeting and people. What are they doing there? They look like, it's so simian, It's like picking fleas out of each other. That's where they learn this thing, Now, in the movies, when you are possessed by a demon, your head turns around 360 degrees. You howl and yell and vomit green poo. When you're possessed by Crankius fartius, you can rip off the longest old man farts. I can fart so long sometimes that I wonder that so much air could be in my body. And I turn around to see if I'm not lying there like a deflated balloon. I haven't aged very gracefully, that's true. I remember the first time I was offered the senior's price. This was some poor, unsuspecting teenager, I guess, young person, just trying to save me a few bucks on the movie. So he asked me, do you want the senior's price? No, I don't want the senior's price! If I wanted the senior's price, I'd ask for the senior's price, and I didn't ask for the senior's price because I am not a senior. Same with my children. I started late. My first child was born when I was 40, my second child when I was 45. When they were little, I'd be walking around and somebody would come up to this, what looked like a benign gentleman. Say, what wonderful grandchildren you have. They're not my grandchildren! I'm their father. Just because look old enough to be their grandfather, because I am old enough to be their grandfather, doesn't mean that you have the right to accuse me of being their grandfather. I'm their father, you jackass. Now, I haven't grown old very gracefully, and this is kind of an irony to me, because I've always had the ability to act old, and I've always enjoyed acting old. I mean, where other actors could cry, and that was taken as a sign of great talent, I could act old. I could make my voice go like that, and I would start off going, oh yeah, there used to be only 6 teams in the NHL, and I'd make my mouth go like this as if there was some, like a fish dying on the beach or something like that, and I'd stoop my shoulders and I'd put out the old arthritic hands, and you don't move too fast when you're acting age. Don will know this. He was in a play where I had to act your father or something. And there'd be Don, and I was right beside him playing Jimmy. Anyways, it struck me now that I don't enjoy acting age as much as I used to, and that my vanity has been somewhat burnished by this alleged talent. So I started to think about growing old in reality and growing old in a fictive sense, or growing old in the virtual sense, acting it. And I started to compare both things, pretending to be old and actually being old. Now, in real life, we have a lifespan of 81 years. I got 17 left. No, the lawyer. What? Sorry, I can't. That's another thing. Memory. I can't remember his name. The weightlifter. We're the same age. God, that guy looks great. I'm gonna take his message to heart. Anyways, where was I? Oh yes. In life, your life expectancy is 87. So I got about 17 years left. It seems. In TV, the life expectancy is probably half that, 40. TV isn't very interested in you if you're over 40. It's worse for women. I mean, because face it, in the TV world, you're in your prime, anywhere from sort of 8 years old to, say, 22. You're the hero, the heroine. You're saving the world, 22 to, say, 32. You're an adult. You're out there earning a living, raising a family, making all the important decisions, getting to the top of your career. 32 to 35, though, you're an adult that's now in decline, and you're worrying about getting old. What happened to my life? Will I ever get what I really set out to do? And from sort of 37 to, say, 40, you're the wise, accomplished old guy, the beloved elder. That's the age I was when I was on street legal. I was the oldest partner of the partners. Now, after 40, up until 40, you're sort of offered parts. After 40, you're offered diseases to play. I've had an awful lot of cancer since I was 40 in my time. I've played all kinds of cancer. Lung cancer is very popular because, of course, you have the tubes that go in your nose. A brain tumor, it's very dramatic. You can go, I've got a headache, and this, means that it's going to be trouble down the road. A heart attack can be very, very effective dramatically. The key to the treasure is, you clutch your chest, and over you go and die. But I've been finding that my, wanting to act and the pleasure of acting either age or age-end sick, of course, for obvious reasons, is losing its charm, because you can see all too clearly, shortly, there's going to be a time when there's going to be no acting required, or there might be that time. And yet you will look back with some sort of chagrin on the time that you took so much pleasure, pretending to be old or pretending to be sick. And I was trying to think, what's the lost pleasure here? And the lost pleasure is the pleasure of using your imagination. When I was young, it was tremendously pleasurable to imagine being old because it was a great stretch of your imagination. Now, when I act old, what imagination do I need? I don't need any imagination. So it seems to me that now the trick is not to imagine being old. It's to imagine being old in any way that's kind of fun. And that's my struggle right now at 64. I'm trying to imagine being old as fun in some way. Now, imagination's a double-edged sword. You can go one of two ways. You can be positive or you can be negative. On the negative side of imagining age is fun, well, they're called the doomers. I call them the boomer doomers. Society has a kind of stance to it. I don't know if I'm being paranoid or not, but I think old people are starting to be demonized in the press. We're like a new enemy to the state, some sort of, economic catastrophe of unparalleled stance that's going to wipe out all the Zoomer tsunami. All these old people are going to rush up and take the beach of Canada and sweep all the wonderful beach houses that we've built over the years. And of course, the private, individual imagination can also go, oh God, in a couple of years, I could maybe not be able to drive, feed myself, bathe myself. I'll have senile dementia. I'll be drugged. I'll be drooling. I'll be in some sort of place where the decor is only white, beige, and puke green, and the television will be turned up loud, and the door is always open, and people are hooting and hollering in the rest of the building, and I'm only separated from my roommate by one sort of curtain like this. And, I'm left for hours in my soiled underwear. I have bruises on me, but I don't want to say why. My pension isn't enough, and my RIFs are being taxed, and I can't find any help in the social because the government maze is too extraordinary. The once proud, independent me has now been conquered, overrun, and totally occupied by old age. With my only hope, the last disease that will free me from this hell of incarceration in an institution for the old. Yikes. That's not a very good thought. So I look on the positive side. We're going to talk about the positive side, and that's the Zoomer kind of personality here. That's the Zoomer kind of philosophy here. And on a kind of more, in a societal way, we don't look on old people now as a liability. We look on them as an economic opportunity. I mean, this is a big group of people, folks, and they are healthier looking, and they are healthier, and they are wealthier than any group that's come along. And, you know, we could be selling them things, you know. And this is a group that's going to go, it's going, look, I don't use the R word anymore, the retirement word. I'm not going to do that. I haven't planned for it. I don't use the age word. I don't intend to age. No, old folks' homes, nursing homes, that's not for me unless they go to Starbucks and play the Rolling Stones. You know, and good morning, Mr. Peterson. It's time for your Van Morrison. And, or, you know, I want a smoking room too, and I'm not talking about tobacco. Watch your roaches, Mr. Peterson. We don't want to burn that place down, you know. It's time for your jacuzzi, Mr. Peterson. And what I'm really saying is, in one way too, I'm talking about the difference. What happens when you get older is, in television terms, you don't get to work, because there's very few parts for older people. As long as television is selling to younger people, then my job is over by 40. So that's why I look at this Zoomer philosophy with some hope, because once television figures out that there's a large market out there that they can deliver to a sponsor of old and aging people, the parts are going to start to come back for me. And I'm going to be on television all the time. In fact, I have the perfect program in mind when this comes about. It's a pitch that I want to make. It's a television program starring me, of course, and it's called The Silver Surge. Silver, not gray, surge. You know, it's like baby boomers. But silver, you know, surge is like the tide, the swell, the ebb and flow of the actual sea. The Silver Surge! And I play a geriatric superhero who goes around rescuing old people from all the difficulties and pain of being old. By day, he is mild-mannered Tommy Surge. You know, shuffling down the hall. I can use all those old acting things again. You know, I'll still be acting age, you know, and going, you know, he's got a stoop, his hair is thin, he wears thick glasses, he's always farting, and has to pee, which is good, because when an emergency strikes, he goes into the men's washroom, into a cubicle, and he emerges as the Silver Surge. And he's in a silver tracksuit. His hair still thin, but silver now. His glasses still thick, but silver. And they can see deep into the hearts of younger people. Anyone 45 or under? And see what they plan for the old people. He's also got a hearing aid, silver though, a silver super hearing aid, which can hear elder abuse wherever it happens in the world. He mounts his technologically advanced super silver motor scooter, and off he goes. My super wrinkles set in a super grim determination to right the wrong that's being done to these old people, which I accomplish. Then I come back into the bathroom, change back into old Tommy Surge. He comes out of the bathroom again. He goes, oh no, I forgot to pee. He goes back into the bathroom. He comes back out again and is going down. Oh golly, it's I'm glad I'm just in time for. Damn it, what was I just in time for? And off he goes. I have 3 minutes and 28 seconds to kill now. I didn't know how long that would take. Anyways, there's one last thing. It's about imagination. If reality is made of what's outside of us, and we don't have a lot to do with that. It's very, it can be very chaotic out there, including our bodies. We can do as best we can. It's inside ourselves. That's where really our only free will is. You know, how we feel about things. So, this was brought home to me one time. As I was coming up to being 60, I was terribly, terribly upset by this. 60 to me was the portals to the land of the elderly. And I was about to take my few tentative steps into it. And I have a very wonderful relation who is a geriatric doctor. And he's a geriatric, he's about 80 himself. He's one of those wonderful guys, terribly inspiring. And I was having lunch with him, and I was sort of kvetching about this impending catastrophe that was going to happen to me. And he said, well, you're a young geriatric. It was an epiphany to me, a young geriatric. Suddenly, I'd gone from being an old adult to being a young geriatric. I was young again. Because as an old adult, I looked behind me. I looked to all those other adults, the 20s, the 30s, and the 40-year-olds, and going, God, I'm in awful shape. But when I was a young geriatric, I could now look the other way and go the 80 and 90, and some of them would be terribly inspiring, too. You go, it's not going to be too bad. But others, you could go, no, I'm not in too bad shape at all, really. Imagination. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to get me through. And when we start selling for older markets, the parts are going to come rolling in. Thank you. Oh, supposed to go this way?
All right.
Thanks, Moses.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Somewhere out there, I think I have my program development officials from Vision.
Oh, they are?
TV.
Can I
They're
pitch it
here.
to you? We
You
could
pitched it. I love the silver surge.
The Silver Surge!
I can hear it. And we can hear secret thoughts. We can hear.
We can look into the hearts of young. I put it at 45. I think you put it at 40, do you?
No, I did it at 45.
45 too, yeah. Yeah, that's when they turn.
The silver surge.
The Silver Surge!
Watch for it, folks.